Welcome to the second season of Empower Your Magical Self. I'm your host, Leah Wellborn, the Mystic Autistic. I created this podcast because I used to be very, very sad. In fact, for decades, I hated being alive. In 2020, I was touched by grace and I decided to live in joy no matter what that took. The result? I empowered my magical self. Along the way, I was diagnosed as autistic at the age of 48. I also became a Reiki healer and an ordained minister. My mission now is to continue to empower my magical self and to help you empower your magical self, whoever and wherever you may be. In each episode, I'll be talking with someone who has helped me empower my magical self. I'll ask them about the experiences in their lives that have shaped them, and I'll ask each guest to answer one question. What is magic? Join me for all 13 episodes of Empower Your Magical Self, Season 2. My guest today is spiritual trap music artist Monita. We talk about magic and what it takes to produce spiritual trap music. Join me next on the 5th episode of the second season of Empower Your Magical Self. Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of the second season of the podcast Empower Your Magical Self. I'm your host, Leah, the Mystic Autistic. Oh boy, is this an exciting show today. Today, my guest is the high vibe trap music star, Monita. I am so dazzled by Monita. Every time I see one of her videos, I'm just kind of have this dumbstruck kind of, oh, look at her reaction, because she has this very magical quality to me. There's just something about her. And just to sort of build on that theme of what a magical person she is, Monita joined me for this interview from China, where she currently is. Now, Monita is not Chinese. Monita is German. Monita has been living in London until recently, when she went to China to go to Kung Fu camp. Isn't that kind of magical? It's very magical to me. And I was so excited to get to talk to Monita from China, which reminds me, did you know that China only has one time zone? That whole enormous country only has one time zone. That really blew my mind. So I was talking with Monita. She was on Chinese time, which is apparently just one time. And I was talking to her here from my home in Colorado. And we talked about magic, of course, because I talked to all of my guests about magic. And we talked about how it's possible to change one's entire life by simply changing one's mind. That's magic, isn't it? She and I have both done that. And so it was very interesting to talk with her and to hear her experience of doing a similar thing to what I've done. Now, here's something you may not have expected. Monita taught me, the Mystic Autistic, 51-year-old white lady, the Mystic Autistic in Colorado. She taught me just a little bit about producing trap music. Isn't that exciting? I was like a kid in a candy shop. I kept saying, now, how do you do that? Who did you, when you collaborated with this person, were you in the studio together? How did you, I'm such a fangirl. You know this. I'm such a fangirl. So I hope that you enjoy, I know you will enjoy this interview with Monita, and check out her music and her videos and her everything, because she is such an inspiring person and she's a lot of fun and she's dazzling. She's magical. She's Monita. Okay, enjoy the interview. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm good.
And you're in China right
Yes,
May I ask why you're in China? I'm so intrigued.
I'm learning kung fu. I'm in a kung fu camp.
That's so cool, Monita. I had no idea. I thought you were going to say something, relatively pedestrian, like recording a video or something, which would be so cool. But
Oh,
this
that
was
would be
just like
amazing.
off the charts. My God, do you have any experience in Kung Fu
Um,
before?
no, not at all. But also because I had to move out of my flat in London like 2-3 months ago, and then I was like, oh, where do I go next? Blah blah. And then I Googled this like 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, actually now would be the perfect time, because all my stuff is already in storage. And then
That is amazing. So how long will you be there?
I'm thinking maybe half a year.
Wow. Does the Kung Fu camp last that long?
Yeah, it's like a school, and they new
Oh,
students come all the time, and then they run it since years, I think.
this is amazing to me. I think we could talk this whole time about that, but that is not even why we're here. I was watching your videos today. Of course, I've all your music videos, but then today I was watching your videos of you like cavorting out on the beach with a sword. Is that in China?
Oh no, that was in Greece.
Okay, that was so fun.
Yeah, I didn't bring my sword, but it was a hassle. But it was wet as well. I think I want to try the two swords.
I love that. So is this like I know in one of your videos I watched you mentioned that you love your gym in London because you like to dance there. And so I know that
Yes.
you dance. Besides just watching you dance, I heard you say it, but talk about dancing. So
Then
I'm just so intrigued because it seems like you you're a musician, you're a dancer, you're a kung fu person.
hopefully soon. That's what I'm training for.
So I guess I should just kind of, my dog just ran down. He's a little noisy. I guess I should just kind of start at the beginning. So are you a trained musician? I guess I can start with that question.
No, I'm not. And it's also funny that you asked about the dancing before, because the dancing is kind of what brought me into this whole music thing. I started
Okay.
with dancing, which turned into kind of music video dancing / modeling. That then turned into videography because I saw oh, normal people film those videos too. I think I can get that kind of quality as well. So I got myself a camera. I started filming. And then I was filming for a rap group, The Freshers, and they asked me to come with them to Prague to hip hop camp. It was a hip hop festival. And then I had a break and I was watching the main stage. And then there was this guy, I forgot what artist it was, but he just looked so himself on stage. He was so just in his baggy pants, just rapping.
Right.
And then in that moment, I was like, wow, I want to do that. Because I feel like I kind of always had it in me, but sometimes when you have you want to do something but you consciously can't even perceive that you want to do it because you think it's so far away, so it's not even in your and then I feel like that moment was oh, I can do that. So then when I got back, I kind of saved or got a credit card to buy myself a laptop. I bought myself Logic. I taught myself how to produce, how to record and stuff.
And that brings me to another question, and I'm going to remind you that I'm an older white lady. And so I'm going to say, when you say producing, I think I kind of know what you mean. But could you tell me I'm 9? What does that mean? Because I always hear a music producer. What is that? So tell me, explain it like I'm a little kid who's curious. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So basically, people use the term slightly different sometimes. So for me, it's producing is putting the whole song kind of together. Some people see it like that. So some people, they say I'm producing it, and then they might get a person who makes the beat and puts the vocal, and then they decide who puts the vocal, blah blah blah. But for me, producing is mainly I make the beat. So I put the drums, I put the instruments, blah blah blah, and then another part of that would be producing a beat, right? Producing the instrumental. I also produce the vocals, me recording it, editing it, and then putting it together and stuff. So that whole producing creating something, basically.
Okay.
So it
And
could
that
be
all
like a beat
happens like
producer.
within the computer and you, right? There's no like
Yes.
set of drums. There's no like, I'm
No,
just
for me,
trying to
no. Some people do
visualize it.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I have a little program,
Uh-huh.
and I do it. I have like a MIDI key. Let me see. I think I have it there.
Cool. Show me.
I have like
Uh-huh.
like a
Look
MIDI
at
keyboard. I
that.
can connect it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then like in the software, like I can say like, oh, this is bass now, and then I can play like a bass line. I was like, oh, this is the kick now.
Wow.
I can play the kick. Then I click, oh no, this is piano
Uh-huh.
now. Then I can play piano.
That's so
Uh,
cool. So you just taught
mm,
yourself how to do that because of this moment that you had of seeing that performer on stage, more or less, in a nutshell.
exactly. Yeah.
To kind
Because
of
before I
give
was like,
elevator pitch.
before I was like dancing, right? And like every
Right,
time
right.
when I'm on stage dancing, like it's very much like somebody else's vision, kind of,
Sure.
right? And then like I had to make sure like I look like the way they wanted me to look. I had to like, like really like, be more in like another person's energy. Whereas when I saw him, I was like, wow, you can just be so authentically yourself on
Right.
stage, like I want to do that. I want to be that.
And that brings me to my whole thing about you and why I'm so friggin' fascinated by you is because you just radiate this authenticity and this originality. And I listen to a lot of the music that is in your genre and I love it. I'm such a fangirl. Like I interviewed Peachka and Tony Jones last year, both. And I know that you've produced, if I'm using the right term, something with
Yeah.
Peachka. I don't want to be
Yeah.
presumptuous there, but yeah.
Yeah, I made a beat for her. Yeah, I
There
produced
you
a beat
go.
for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's just something about you and the way you present yourself that just is so authentic and is so different. And you give the impression, and I'm wondering, because I should tell you, a lot of the people in my audience are people who are dealing with recovering from different kind of mental anguish, depression, etc., and trying to get back on their feet, or maybe for the first time in their life trying to get on their feet. Maybe they just have felt like they're just a mess their whole life and they're trying to find their magic, right? So this is what this show is about. When I look at you, I see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this magical person who is incredibly confident and who just kind of floats through life without a lot of problems. Is that who you are, Monita?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm actively like wanting to be that, and then like being
Wonderful.
that, I guess. Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
that been, would you say in your experience, have you had a blessed life? Like, has that been your experience moving through life? Have you just had things kind of go easily for you?
In a sense, mm, mm, I don't know how to say it, but like I'm very grateful for everything that has happened in the past because it brought me here. Without that, I couldn't be like how I am now and how I feel now, I think.
Right.
But like for me, it's almost like beginning of 2021, that is when I kind of started being like this. And I remember, I think the moment I wrote down like old identity, new identity, or like true identity, because I've always been this. But it was just like, like when you grow up, especially like teenagers and stuff, like everybody else's belief systems, and you take it on, you try to be in a box, in a box, in a box. And then in 2021, beginning of it, I realized actually, like I can feel completely different. And I had these like new feelings, like I was like, and I realized how I've been seeing life as like gray, like I was always like gray. And then like, that was a moment when I recognized it and I was like, wow, I can choose to be like different and I can choose to see the world like this and I can kind of always feel like this. And since then I've been like, like I have like my baseline is like for life is like higher now. And I'm like, I kind of hold myself up to like that standard-ish. Like I try because it's more fun there, but yeah, like
I
childhood and stuff,
love
it wasn't.
that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it
Yeah,
wasn't like, like childhood. I grew up only with my mom. She had alcohol issues. She passed away when I was 15. I was like a year in like a orphanage, blah, 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 blah. So all of that, but like I don't really identify with that. Like it's just
sure.
something that happened,
It's like
like
another
uh,
lifetime almost. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I
And
and
you
I
grew
like
up
how
in,
people say, sorry?
I was just going to ask, you grew up in London. Is that correct? Or
Oh no, Germany.
in Germany? See,
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
getting
German.
surprise after surprise about you. Being an American, we don't speak very many languages, so you're so incredibly fluent in English. I just assumed, and you living in
Oh, thank
London,
you.
I just assumed, wow, you're a very
Yeah, people
astonishing person, Monita.
thanks. People in London, as soon as I open my mouth, they hear the accent. They're like, "Where are you from?"
It's funny. Yeah, no, not for me. I can't tell.
Thanks.
But it seems like maybe you're not going to be based in London anymore, or
I love London. I feel like I'm probably always gonna go back there. It's just like, and all my stuff is in storage there as well, But it's just at the moment it's a bit crazy, like the rent and like if
yeah,
it's high rent and it's pretty, it's like it's nice. I can do it somehow, right? But if it's high rent and ugly, I'm like,
sure.
no, thank you.
Totally understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Your lyrics are so amazing. Like I have issues personally with abundance, and I find your lyrics so helpful because I have scarcity issues and blah blah blah, all of that stuff. And so your songs, especially I walk around saying, "Why am I so rich?" And I
I put it on my walls till I got it in my mind till I got the shit aligned like why am I so rich? Yeah, why am I so like why am I so rich?
and I
Abandoned.
and I don't know. It's changing my brain, Monita.
That's
And
amazing. That's
I,
why I called that EP subconscious audios, right? For the subconscious to be like,
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because your lyrics are just phenomenal. And I guess, you're a very spiritual person, right? I mean, I can
yeah.
safely say that. Do you feel like your lyrics come to you, or are they like come to you? How does that happen?
I think so. Like most of them, like it depends on song to song. But most of them is like feeling like things that I'm learning or that I kind of want to cement in more,
Yeah,
or it's like feelings that I felt and I want to put them like into a song and then like so I can remember them and then also like my audience can like hopefully like conjure that feeling through it,
sure.
and I can sometimes when you have like these good feelings you kind of forget and then it's good to have
Right.
something to remind you like
So do you think like in those little rhymes and snippets, or do you like write something that's kind of longer form and then you craft it? I'm just trying to imagine how
Mm,
your
in
mind works.
snippets. I
Okay.
think in
So
snippets. Sometimes, like I have like in my notes, sometimes I write down my thoughts in like longer form, and
mhm.
sometimes they become a song. Then it's more like the longer form, and then I make it into snippets, like the essence of it. But usually it's like just snippets, kind of. Yeah.
That's really interesting to me. As I'm a writer too, but I think in these long, like essays. And so it's such a different mindset or mind skill. I don't know. So it's fascinating to me to hear that experience that it comes to you in snippets like that.
Yeah, I think my like I have like a very like my short-term memory and stuff is not the best, and then like sometimes I have issues putting long things together, and then I'm rewriting and rethinking. So snippets is actually like perfect for my brain.
That's interesting.
Mm.
And when did you start dancing? Or like, did you start taking classes? I mean, because I imagine I look at you and I think of you as a little baby girl just dancing around. So am I right? Were you like a little baby dancer?
Um, Not really. And the
No?
thing is, I'm not like a professional dancer or nothing. Like I started dancing, I think when I was like 16-ish. Yeah, like I had a friend and she came back from Costa Rica and she brought back like dancehall music, and then we started like a little group dancing. And then when I came to London, like I kind of fell into the like dancing scene, like the more dancehall scene, and then like it was word of mouth booking, but I never really took classes. I'm not the best
Oh,
at
really?
classes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like again my short-term memories.
I can't do choreography to save my life. I love dancing, but I can't follow. If somebody tells me, it's just like I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
So
like the worst was when we had music video shoots and you come there and you didn't know there was a choreography and then you had to learn it like on the day. Like, I was like, "Ah!"
I wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah.
I was like, when you watch the videos of me, like you can see my eyes always looking at one person to copy the moves.
And so, do you film your own videos of your own music that you do?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I do, but I wish, like, I would really love to have like a team soon because it's getting like a little bit long, you know? And I feel like
Sure.
I could up the quality so much more if I only have to focus on my performance, you know? And then someone else would do the video and the like all the settings and stuff, so you don't have to concentrate on so many different things.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Because I know I just do my little goofy, videos for TikTok or whatever here, and that's a lot. So doing something like, more professional like you do, I can't even imagine pulling it off like you do. And I love that so many artists in your genre are so independent.
Mm.
You're independent, right? In terms of you don't have
Yes.
a label or anything, right? No,
Nothing.
no.
But I would love to, I think. Like in the beginning, I was
Would
like,
you?
no, independent. But now I'm actually like, oh, it would be so nice to just have a team, you know, like some,
Right.
like, I don't know. Yeah.
But you could have a team and still be independent, right?
Yeah, it's true. I think maybe that's like my next kind of like challenge thing. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Because I love how all of y'all in the genre don't really seem to have to answer to a corporate structure saying, oh no, don't say this, don't say that. And that's something that's so magical to
It
me about
is.
the genre and so different. And it's frustrating to me because when I tell people about your music and the music of Peachka and Lizzie Jeff and Moonlight Scorpio and all of these other wonderful artists.
Oh, Moonlight Scorpio. Like, I
Yeah,
love that.
isn't she great? I love
Yeah.
her. She's in my heavy rotation, of course, just like you and Peachka and all the rest. Um,
Yeah.
it's as if they're almost, when I tell people about you in the genre, it's almost like it just goes right over their head because it's not like they don't hear it in, I don't know, wherever people hear fucking Megan the Stallion, and which is great. I love Megan the Stallion, but it's like
Yeah, me
they
too.
don't have that, y'all don't have that corporate machine behind you, which is good, but it's bad also because it's like, how do I get people to listen to your music? I know that
Yeah.
must always be something I would imagine that you're struggling with.
Yeah, that's why it would be nice to have like a label or something, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be lovely for all of y'all to have a label together somehow. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah, that would
great?
be amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I even thought about that like a year, 2 years ago. I was like, wow, like a whole like high vibe kind of thing. That
Oh,
would
that'd
be
be
nice.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kristen
But then again,
T
it's like oh yeah, Chris and Teeth are like amazing.
and
Also.
Mellow Will too. You did
Yeah.
a song with Mellow Will, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So was
I
he,
also produced,
you produced that too? Is that what you said? Or
oh yeah, and I also produced the Money Mantra for Moonlight Scorpio. Like that was like
oh,
one of the first, like she was like the first, like she didn't have any music out, and she messaged me. She was like, oh, I like your like witchy vibe, blah blah blah. Like, can I buy like a beat of yours or whatever? And then she bought that, and then it got so big, and that was the first time when I saw like numbers like that. I was like, whoa. Yeah.
that's amazing. So were you two physically together when you made that track?
No, I was like
Yeah.
just me and the laptop. I made the beat and I sent it, and then she like recorded and I think produced her vocals and stuff herself. And then
Wow. Is that how it worked with the Mellow Will track as well?
Yeah, like I made the beat, and then like he sent me his vocals, and then I edited our vocals together and stuff.
That's
And
so
then
cool. That's really, I'm 51, so I was born in 1972, so I went like all the way through college before the internet, basically.
wow.
So yeah, when I was like in college, they would talk about, putting things together. It was like the physical audio tape. So this
It
kind of
was
stuff
so
is really,
much
it blows my
harder.
mind. I know that it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of a thing too, because it was much more difficult as it is now, but to be an independent artist back then, because it's like
Yeah.
people
You
are not
needed
going
like
to hear
money,
you.
like
You could have your cassette tape in your sad little trunk of your car, and that's about it. Yeah,
yeah. I feel so blessed to live in these times, like it's
it's
like
different, isn't it? It's a
yeah.
very different. Do you know Ani DeFranco? Are you familiar with her?
No.
She was like the big independent artist back in the day, feminist. I was in college. She was a little bit older than me, and she had so this is like, early 90s, you got to think. She had combat boots, shaved head, openly bisexual. So this was like way far out there back in the day. And she was independent, and she had her own record label called Righteous Babe Records. And
Oh.
it was just like so physical, everything that she had to do. Like, it was physical albums coming out. It was physically going town to town, because there was no internet for her music to catch
No.
on. There was no Spotify. There was just people saying, I have this cassette of this weird woman. Will you please listen to it?
Yeah, like bless TikTok. Thank you.
No, right? It's a very,
Yeah.
it's like a double-edged sword, like everything else, right? Because there is so much grossness that comes out of social media and the internet and everything. But there is also all of this wonderfulness, and I find folks like you, and other people find folks like you, and we can connect. And that brings me to a lot of your music kind of alludes to like a spiritual evolution taking place in the world.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I know that's kind of vague, but just I don't know, your impressions, your feelings, your thoughts, your spirituality. I'm very intrigued by all of that. So any and everything you would like to talk about on that thread, I would love to hear.
I feel like I kind of always wanted to do something that like kind of like shifts the world into like a more beautiful thing. And I feel like it has been happening like, by itself already. And like so many people, like everyone is kind of like contributing, like, and like I feel like the best example I have is like I went first vegan when I was like 19, I think. Or yeah, but just for a year. But I remember when I did that, it was so controversial. Like everybody was like, oh, where do you get your protein from? But like very angry, And like it's like, oh, but where and now, like now I've been vegan for like I stopped, and then I started like 8 years ago again. And now the response is so different. Everybody's like, wow, that's so cool. Oh yeah, like I've been thinking about it. Like, oh yeah, me too. So like I feel like it's shifting like already so much. And like the music that I make, I wanted to just be like an accelerator for the world to move into like even more like loving vibes, where people don't feel the need to like hide or lie or like kill each other or something. Like that's like extreme, But
For sure. Yeah.
but like
Have you been to the United States? Speaking of extreme violence and killing each other.
I've been, but it was a beautiful experience. I've been to
Where did
LA
you
for a
go
week.
when you came to the States?
I did a dance class.
Yeah.
And
In what city?
in LA.
I used to live in
Yeah.
LA. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where do you live? In
I
mountains
live
in
in
Denver.
Aurora, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver.
Okay.
Kind
Yeah,
of
I saw because of the
mountain.
time.
Right. I was so shocked that China only has one time zone. That
Yeah,
is just mind-blowing to me. It's such a huge country.
it is big.
So how could it
But it's
be
cool.
one time in the same place? That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because like in the United States, which is not nearly as big, we have like 4 time zones.
But they don't span as many hours, right? Like it's just like maybe 4
It's
hours if you
4
exclude
hours.
Hawaii.
I think it's, well, with Hawaii, maybe 6 hours, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I've been telling everybody. Do you know China only has one time zone?
Oh.
So I'm sorry, back to the spiritual path. Do you have like I call myself a witch. I'm an autistic person and I'm a witch. So I'm an autistic witch. Somebody asked me, what does it mean to be an autistic witch? I'm like, I'm a witch and I'm autistic. It's not that complicated. But anyway, I was just wondering, do you have a similar like label? Of course you don't have to, but I'm wondering if you do, of your spiritual path.
I don't. But sometimes I feel like it would be cool because then, like, then you can, I struggle some because I want to put something, like, if when you label something, then people can find it easier, right?
Right.
But I'm
Right.
struggling labeling it. I don't know, because also labels, like everybody understands them differently, like certain,
It's true.
like I might find spirituality is like, wow, it's beautiful. And then other people might think it's like icky because there's also like this ickiness sometimes, like, like a touch, like people who are like, I don't know, it depends on the experience you had with that. And then what
Right.
well, so I
Yeah.
don't really have a label, but
That's perfectly
it would be
fine. I'm
nice
just
to kind
always
of one.
curious. Well, again, I like to think about the audience of this show, who are often people who are searching and who are coming out of maybe some dark times and looking towards something better, and are like, how does she do that? How does she live in a happy way? Right? I mean, because for
Yeah.
me, there was a time when I lived in a very unhappy way for years and
Same.
years and years and
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Same.
So I know you said in 2021 things kind of changed. Things did
Yeah.
change.
A lot.
Would there be something that you could maybe give the essence of to someone who's like, well, I want to make that change. I don't know how to make that change.
I think the biggest thing is to know that it's not like external, because externally nothing changed. I lived in the same place. It was all internal.
Yeah.
And I think a good thing is to first, I think what led me there is like I had a very strict mental diet. Like I only consumed what I wanted to experience in the world. I only put
I
my
call that a
attention on.
soul lit. I call that a
How?
soul lit. I call it a soul lit. I only do things or consume things that light my soul on fire. If I'm not
Exactly, yeah.
passionate about it, if I feel meh about it, pass. I don't want to eat it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to listen to it. So I
Yes,
fully
yes.
vibe with exactly what you say, and really encourage anyone listening that to really do it, because you can do it. A lot of people, their first reaction is going to be like, oh, that's easy for you to say. I can't do that. Yes, you can.
Oh no, everybody can. And then once you
Right.
realize like how much lighter you feel, like the more you actually only want to consume those things,
Yes.
And then
Yes.
also another thing is, I think, to look at your thoughts that you're having, like what are the consistent things in your head. And then I remember there was a point back then where I was thinking like, oh, what would I love to be thinking? Like what kind of thoughts would I like to be in my head that are beautiful? And then I started thinking about that. And then naturally my thoughts went more in alignment with what I kind of wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there anything, and I love those, and I totally, completely agree with those. How about if somebody says, well, that sounds great, but right now I'm super sad and I don't know what to do to I can't even get to that.
I would say to feel the sadness, maybe to just be in it and try to release the resistance, try to release I need to feel good, I need to feel good. Be like,
Yes.
no, I'm sad now. I'm sad
Right.
and I love it. I'm going to get some preferably vegan ice cream, sit in my bed, watch a rom-com or something,
Right.
and just embrace the sadness, and then make it kind of, I don't know, make it because it's a emotion to, sometimes it's nice to feel sad. I feel like it starts to feel icky when you try to get out, or
Yes.
you get you're like, oh no, it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this. But when you're like, no, I'm sad and I love it. It's okay. It's okay. And then trust yourself that naturally you release it, and then you will, naturally go up if you keep your mental diet nice, if you watch your thoughts. And if you another thing is, when I see myself having a thought, it's kind of like an addiction, it takes some time sometimes. If you keep on thinking this one thought, or in this kind of way, it takes some time to wire like your brain. There's this video, I don't know if you've seen it, of like brain matter actually rewiring, like physically. It's like crazy. And it's like a habit. Like the way you think is a habit. Like that helped me a lot as well to know it's a habit. Like I just have to change the habit. You recognize it. When you recognize it, you're like, oh, actually I can shift my attention. I can think about this instead. You know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And habits, the word habits is so big too. I used to have such bad habits, and they were just kind of a part of my life. Watching news constantly, drinking wine every day, all of these things that were just like constantly lowering me. And yet I would think, why am I so low? Why am I so low? Right? But it's difficult because we get in those habits and we can't sometimes get above them enough to see what we're doing. We can maybe see them in other people, but we can't see them in ourselves.
And also, like, know that the world, like, it kind of ties into what you just said. I think that the world is not just like how you see it right now. There is something else out there, you know. There is like completely new feelings, completely new way of seeing things, you know. Like you can, I think when I got like a glimpse of like a feeling that I never had before. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. And then I held on to that, and I was like, I can feel that again. And that's again why I put those into the songs, so I remember them. And then it's like, you know? No.
I do know. And I remember hearing people say that when I was in such a dark place and thinking, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I do know what you're saying. And so I'm trying to think of a way to, like, if somebody's sitting there thinking, that doesn't make any sense, you know, I guess I could almost say, like, if you taste something, like literally taste something that you haven't ever tasted before and you've never thought of tasting before, you've never opened your mind to tasting it before, and then all of a sudden it's just there and you're like, all right, I'll taste it, even though maybe the day before you would have said no, and you taste it and then you're like, oh wow, I cannot believe I never tasted that before, I want to taste that again. So
and then
it's
you can
kind
make a
of
whole
like
of new dishes.
it's kind of like that, but it's like without the actual taste buds. It's like within you. And a big part of that is being able to say, I'm going to give up my resistance to not tasting that.
Yes.
That was for me. I was like, no, I don't taste that. That's for whatever reason. I don't taste that. But then when I did taste it and I let down that resistance, wow.
Yeah.
So I guess I would want people to understand that, because what you're saying makes so much sense to me, but I think you and I are both on this side of that hump that maybe other people aren't, who might be listening to this and are thinking, I'm just sad. I don't know. I don't know how to get a good feeling.
Yeah, it's like a slow kind of thing, you know, like they're also like, I love the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell something, like it's very good about like, you know, changing like the thoughts, like you can read like so many books, or like even like I love the Joe Dispenza books, you know, and then like
a lot of the what
like
book? Say the name again, please.
Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like his books are like kind of cool, and I feel like for those people, like just start with like consuming like that type of information slowly, and then like I feel like your body will know what to do, you know, you feed it new information. That's why mental diet, I think, is kind of the easiest thing. And food sometimes as well. For me, like when I feel low, I eat like fruits and it makes me feel high again.
Right. And the programming generally, at least in America, is to, oh, I'm sad, I want a piece of cake and a bag of potato chips, which is just gonna lower everything and make it harder for you to get back up out of that, you know?
Yeah, but I guess it depends, because like I feel like sometimes, like if that is kind of the only thing that kind of makes you feel a little bit better, then maybe like I do that sometimes, you know, I'm like, oh, like everything else feels so resistant, okay, let me do that then, you know, like at least I feel
completely agree with you, and I'm glad that you said that. I guess my point is that because I used to be in such a bad habit of, my self-care was actually self-poisoning. I would be like, I'm so sad, I'm gonna have this huge bowl of ice cream and drink a bottle of wine, like every day. It's like, that was not helping me. And I had the good intention, I guess, of self-care, but no, it was self-poisoning. So I think that that's a distinction that is sometimes hard because people will be like, "Oh, I'm going shopping, self-care, haha." Well, yeah, unless it means that your lights are going to get turned off. I mean, self-care goes deeper than just spending some money and being frivolous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Like you have to really feel into yourself and be like, is this actually what I want now? Or like, will this make me feel better or will it make me feel worse kind of thing? And
Right.
sometimes if I don't do the unhealthy thing, it makes me feel worse because then I'm just in a
Right.
loop. So then sometimes I have to do the unhealthy thing. But
For sure.
generally, yeah, like generally now I don't even want that many unhealthy things anyways, it's just like sometimes, and then it's like, yeah, I just allow myself because I don't want to feel like this resistance, like blah, 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 blah.
Totally. I love that. I think that that's a good reminder that you can be on that path of being elevated and doing the right things and then still give yourself the grace to have the indulgence. It's not like a all the time grinding serious blah blah, and you become more desirous of the healthy things and less desirous
Exactly.
of the unhealthy things, which
Yeah.
is a great comfort when you start out and you're like, this sucks. I really want to have a bottle of wine, because for me that was a big vice, and I knew that I had to give that up because it was trashing everything about my life. But
Mm.
it was the right decision, and it was hard, and it was really hard at first, but now I don't think about it so much. So it's possible, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's very possible. And sometimes what I noticed as well is that when I really want to, like, when I'm really trying, I'm like, oh, I have to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like sometimes, because when you are already in this state of like desperation or kind of thing, and then then you put that like onto the vice and you say, oh, I can't have this, I can't do this, but like then it still puts you in the loop if you are in that energy of like, already. And then yeah, I don't know, I'm just like a little bit worried that like people who are like that they then maybe judge themselves even more if they have that. But it's like, I feel like it's all about like, don't judge yourself, just be kind to yourself. And I feel like at some point, like, when you do like your mental diet and everything, your body will know and like will get you to the right thing, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I also
I
like
agree.
another example is I gained weight again, like in 2021. Like I'm like 10 kilos heavier than I used to be, but like I was like, I did my best to not be like, oh my God, I need to lose the weight, I need to go, because it wasn't my highest excitement. It used to be like, I used to love to go to the gym, but like now to try and lose the weight, it just makes me feel like more shit if I did it like consciously. And then I was just like, no, I'm just gonna kind of give up, and see what comes. And now I'm here, this is like my highest alignment, and I feel like I will lose it, like naturally, like with fun. And because I allowed myself to not like constantly judge myself about it and make myself even like, talk down on myself even more. I feel like if you want to change like a habit, be nice to yourself about it and don't put like so much harshness on yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. God, just be nice to yourself about everything, right? People are so mean to themselves. People say terrible things to themselves and about themselves.
So
Just all the
sad.
time. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. I could just kill myself. I was like, oh my God, stop that. Don't say those things. They're spells. They're putting spells out into the world and they're cursing themselves.
Yeah, but like I feel like the most, like I heard one person say, like, if you wouldn't say that to your best friend, then like don't say it. Like, if you wouldn't say that to another person, then don't say it to yourself. Like, like all these. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you wouldn't say it to a little child, don't say it to yourself. Yeah. So what do you just do kung fu all day in China? I'm just imagining being at kung fu camp.
Yeah, we do. Like in the mornings we do Tai Chi, then we have breakfast. Then like depending on the weekday, we either have like the Shaolin forms or Qigong or like power stretching or power training, or like Chinese kickboxing, Sanda. Yeah, and it's like yeah, it's like a thing. It's very nice here because you don't have to worry about anything. Like they give you food, they like the
That's so
training
cool.
is there. Like it's like very, yeah.
Regimented kind of thing. Yeah.
But, like, and
So are
very
you in
beautiful.
a
It's very
dorm
small.
there? Is that where you live, like in a dormitory?
Yeah, like, but I have a single room. This is
That's
my
so
room.
cool. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah, and then wait, let me see if I can show you the courtyard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This
Oh,
is
wow,
like
look
the
at
courtyard.
that. That's so nice. What is the weather like there right now?
It's very sunny. Like
Uh-huh.
it's blue skies.
Yeah. Is it comfortable, like in what you're wearing there? Are you comfortable in terms of the heat or cool or whatever?
Yes, it's perfect. Like it's like a little bit hot, but like it's like 30 degrees or something, like summer. And then winter is going to be like cold. Like it's like normal weather, kind of. Summer hot, winter cold.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. That's just so cool. Do you know anybody, or did you know anybody? I'm sure you do now, but before you went to China, did you know anybody?
I didn't know anyone. No.
That's so cool. Do they speak
I met lots of
Mandarin?
magic people here. Yeah, Mandarin.
And are you
Yeah.
learning Mandarin? I guess you would kind of have to learn Mandarin.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like I wouldn't have to because like here, like it's one teacher, he speaks English as well.
Oh, wow.
Like it's just one person who teaches us everything. But I want to learn, you know, because when you go into like the town and stuff, then
Right.
it would be nice to at least say something.
What town or city or whatever, where are you?
The closest city is Tengzhou, I think. Tengzhou. It's like Shandong province.
Okay. Wow, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. Go you. That's so cool.
Thanks.
I'm very
It was
impressed.
very random as well. Like I only decided like a month ago that I wanted to come.
Well, when you told me you were, I was like, okay, she's in China. All right. No reason why we can't record from China. I love it. So where can people find you when because they're all going to see this and be like, I love her. I want to find out everything she does, and where can I listen to her and see her? And so let people know.
So like I'm on Instagram, my music is on everywhere, like Spotify, Apple, and then YouTube. On YouTube, I have like the videos that I kind of do myself, and I also do like some vlogs and stuff there.
Cool. So it's just Monita. They would just look for your name.
Oh yes, yeah, Monita.
Okay, cool.
And then Monita's Gram on Instagram, and then the rest is
Instagram.
Monita.
Very good. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question that I ask all my guests. What is magic?
Magic, I feel like, is the feeling that you get when you realize like there's more, you know, like something you didn't even, like with the fruit that you said, the example, like, or like the food that you never ever tasted kind of thing. And then you taste and you're like, whoa, you know, and you didn't even think of tasting it. It just comes. And then it's like whole new world open to you. It's like, wow. Yeah. And then
So
also like, you know, sometimes when you get like
it's a feeling for you. Magic is like, comes down to a feeling.
I think so. Yeah. Like, or maybe it's not a feeling, but like, I notice magic the most when I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Is it available to everybody? Magic?
Of course.
Yeah, it is, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in all of us. We've just got to, for me, it was a matter of uncovering it, not like going out and finding it and adding it to myself. It was a matter of digging, like getting all the crap out of the way so I could find what was already there.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. It's like already like in a way, I think like magic is kind of everything. And then we did like, you know, like sometimes a lot of like human constructs and blah, 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 you know, so like, yeah, it's like a clearing like your senses kind of thing so you can perceive more of it. And it's like,
yeah, like human constructs have kind of obscured our inherent magic.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like it made it kind of harder to access, but then in a sense, like it's even more of a reward once you get there. And also I feel like it's like the feeling, like, you know, when you were a kid, I don't know if you had the same, and you thought like, oh, life is like this, but then you got disappointment after disappointment, and then it's like, and people telling you, no, it's not, and then you're like, oh, it's like, no, it's not. It's like, oh, and then when you discover magic, like, or when I discovered like the feeling, then I'm like, oh, actually, it is like how I thought it was when I was a kid, you know, like it is like the world is like
it's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that is really true. There is so much marketing and education and rules and laws and things are this way, not that way, that are imposed on us as children growing up, that we have to detach from and let go of. And living as a human, we have to have in some way one foot in that world and knowing that that's not really real, all of those human constructs and those, but we have to be aware of them and live by them anyway because it's society. And yet we as spiritual people know that the reality is this whole different thing. So it complicates the experience of being human, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So
Yeah, same. Because it's like kind of like cool when you discover it, and then it's like the feeling like, whoa, actually, you know?
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And I just want everybody to know that they have access to it and that they don't have to buy it. They don't have to go out and take a class in it or, take a pill or whatever. It's
yeah.
there, don't even try to get something. If you buy something else, you're going to be covering it up more that you're going to have to get rid of. So
Yeah.
just
And I
get
feel
down
like,
to your core.
yeah, a massive thing is like trust, just like, even if you don't feel it in this moment, just trust that it will come, and like it will come. Like there's something about this, like not like always being like, oh, I need to get there, I need to get there, I need to get this. It's more like trust. It's like I will, like right now I'm like this, but like, like I trust that it will come back, and then like it will.
Yeah. Do you have a relationship with guides, spirit guides? Do you have that going on personally?
No, not really. I think it's just like this magic feeling, or like source, kind of like, I don't know how to call it, but it's like like sometimes I feel the connection like so much, and then it's like funny. Sometimes it's like jokes and stuff, like
Yeah.
just between me and source, and
Jokes
it's like
a lot. I
yeah,
get that too in jokes, and I'm like, good one. That was funny. I see what you did
yeah.
there. Yeah.
And then you're the only one who sees it. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's true. Well, cool. What else?
Except sometimes
Yeah,
you meet
tell me.
people who see it as well. Sometimes like it's like another person is there with you, and then you're like, and then both
And
of you
that's
like
pretty
notice
cool
it, and it's
too.
like, so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else should people know about you, Monita? Because I want everybody to know all about you, everything you want them to know anyway, and about your music and your whole
I think,
vibe. It's so cool.
thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
think that's it. Yeah.
Cool.
I think I just want like people to be happy, love themselves, and that way we make the world like a beautiful, like loving place, which it already is to like a massive degree, like, but it's like even more like to
Yeah, just change your headspace. It's amazing how much the world will change.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to me, Monita.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you have a wonderful day there at Kung Fu Camp. I just love to say that. It's so fun.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? Monita is magical and marvelous. I love Monita. I'm such a fan, and I really look forward to continuing to watch her grow as an artist and see what all she produces with her one precious life. What a treasure she is. I love Monita. Thank you so much for joining me today for episode 5 of season 2 of Empower Your Magical Self, the podcast. I don't think I've mentioned before that I'm a Reiki healer. If you would like to experience Reiki with me and you're in the Aurora, Colorado area, Denver, Colorado area, you are in luck. Look at my website, leahwellborn.net, and we'll go from there. If you would like to experience Reiki with me from anywhere in the world, I provide Reiki via online meeting session, kind of like we're doing here, but live. So please let me know if you would like to do that. Check out my website, leahwellborn.net. And I've got another great, exciting show lined up next week. Episode 6 of season 2 is Sarah Potter. She's another one of my heroes. She's a professional witch who writes for Cosmopolitan about astrology and tarot, and she's magical as well. So I will see you next week back here on Empower Your Magical Self, season 2, episode 6, with the incredible Sarah Potter. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.